Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, if you want to replace the tube in your rear tire because it's flat, in this video we're going to walk you through the process of how you can do that. So, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to undo the axle. So there's a couple different axle types you can have. You can have a screw-on axle or a quick release axle. So for this bike, I just have a quick release axle, so I just pull it out just like that. But if you have a screw-on axle, you're gonna have to get a 5mm Allen key and take it out like that. So after you have your axle out, you wanna make sure that you don't lose this stuff, because you're gonna have to need it to put the wheel back together. So I'm just gonna put it right here. So some people might be scared of taking off the rear wheel because of the cassette, but it's nothing to worry about. You're just gonna pull the chain like this, take it off of the cassette, and then pop the wheel out. And just like that, your rear wheel is off. So step number one, after you get the wheel off, is you're gonna wanna take the tire and the old tube out. So what you're gonna do with that, you're just gonna take the tire first, pop it out of the bead on one side, all the way around, and then go to the other side. Pop it out the same side as you popped out this one, all the way around. And this is where tire levers could be nice if you have some, but they aren't needed. And since my tube is still attached, I'm just going to take off the valve stem cap and pull it out. And there is my wheel without a tire or a tube. So now it's ready to be replaced. So you're going to take out the old tube and throw it aside because you're not going to need it anymore. But don't throw these away because it could be really useful for a chain stay protector or any other thing you could use a tube for. So you want to keep that. You can also fix them and reuse them if you get a patch kit. But there's a couple things you're going to need now that you have the wheel apart. So the first thing you're going to need is a bike tube. So in here, there's going to be a couple of things that you're going to need for this. First, of course, is the tube. And also in here are a couple of tire levers. So these are going to be useful whenever you're trying to put the tire back on with the tube inside. The next thing you're going to need after you got the tire tube in is a pump so you can refill it. First, we're going to take out the tube with the packaging. You want to make sure you got the right size tube or else it won't fit your wheel. So after you have it undone all the way, you're going to want to find the valve stem, undo the cap, and just put a little bit of air in there. Just enough to give it its shape. This can also be done with an air compressor. It'll go a lot faster. But just because we're out here in the forest, we didn't want to do that. And plus, not all people have a air compressor. So this is just showing you that you can do it with just a pump, hand pump. So after you have the tube filled up just a little bit, not enough to where you would actually ride with it like this, you're gonna find the hole that the valve stem goes into. So right here, there's just a little hole. Now you're gonna find your valve stem and you're gonna shove it in there. And then you're gonna just get the tube to seat all the way around it. And so I think I might have filled up my tube just a little too much, so I'm just gonna let out a little bit of air so that way the tire will go on right. Okay. there. Now I'm ready to put the tire on. So what you're gonna do for that is you're gonna take your tire and first make sure that the arrows for the rotation are pointed the right way. So since my arrows are pointed this way, I'm going to make sure that the arrows on my rim are also pointed the same direction. So that would be this way. And so once you have that figured out, you're going to take your tire and you're just going to put it around the rim. Okay, we have to make sure there's no dirt in there because that would be bad. So you're just going to take it all the way around. Now this part might be a little difficult at first, but once you get it going, it shouldn't be too bad. Don't be afraid to bend the tire because it's made of rubber, it won't hurt it. Okay, so once you have your tire all the way around, then you're going to take one side. Well, actually, first you have to line up the labels because style points. Now you're going to take one side, once you have the tire where you want it, and you're just going to seat that one side. So this part should be pretty easy. You probably won't need a tire level for it, but if you do, you can always use them. I'm not going to. But you're just going to get one side of the tire to go into the rim. So once you have one side in, flip it around, making sure that you're keeping the other side in. This side's going to be a little bit harder, but you're going to get the other side to go into. So this part, whenever you get to the very bottom, is where you're going to want to use tire levers. It'll be very helpful. So you're going to start up here, put it in, just go around, getting the tire to go in all the way around. So, just like that, you have your tire back on. So now all you have to do is pump it up and then put it back on the bike. So now I'm going to do that. So, after you got your tire filled nice and full, you're going to take your valve stem cap and you're just going to put it right back on where it was before. And just like that, your tire is refilled. Now, all you have to do is come back to your bike and put it back on. So what you're going to do for that is you're going to get it around the rear mech and just right in here where you can pull the rear derailleur out of the way and just seat it in there. Make sure that if you have disc brakes that it's seated right in the caliper. And then now, if it's right in there, you're going to want to take your chain and put it back around the cassette. So this might be kind of difficult, but you should be able to get it. Just like that. It's on the cassette. I'm just going to pull it over into the middle of the cassette just so it doesn't pop off. And now, make sure that everything's lined up properly. Make sure it spins good, no rubbing. And with that, you're done. So now, if you have a screw on axle, you're gonna screw it back in. If you have a quick release axle, you're gonna put it back through, screw it back together. So while you're doing this, make sure everything's nice and secure. Everything's tightened down. And looks like that, you're done. Now the only thing you have to do is go out and ride. We'll see you in the next video.